Gaming Bolt presents 15 undercover video game characters you had no idea will betray you. Can you ever really know another person? What drives you to get out of bed every morning might not mean anything to another, and the ideals of yourself don't translate over to the truths of another quite so flawlessly. Such is what happened with the characters we're going to explore in this list. Some of these characters transcend being characters and become people because their values cause them to turn away from the path of the player, and sometimes they never really lined up to begin with. What's a good story without a twist or two after all? Really goes without saying, but watch out for some serious spoilers ahead. Master Miller, Metal Gear Solid. Infiltrating deep into the game was never a one-man operation, since Solid Snake had help from a whole team of support. Though not all of them were what they seemed either. The point of focus here is the memorable moment in the middle of the classic tactical espionage action game where Master Miller, the one you call for gameplay tips, suddenly disappears. The trick is that the antagonist of the game, Liquid Snake, had killed Master Miller before the events of the game had even begun, and had infiltrated your mission from the start to see every move you made. KAIN, Final Fantasy IV. While the purple, draconian armor adorned by KAIN Highwind in Final Fantasy IV might give the suggestion that he's the villain, the reality of KAIN is a stoic, sometimes sarcastic man full of hope. He's conflicted thanks to his connections to Cecil and his girlfriend Rosa, the former of which he's been friends since childhood, and the latter he hides strong feelings for. His possession by antagonist Golbez begins him on a road toward betraying the team, though he openly admits to the heroes that his actions were partly driven by his love that would never be reciprocated. Akechi, Persona 5. When the Phantom Thieves begin to rise to prominence, of course they would catch the eyes of the law. It's not every day that society's most corrupt turn over new leaves on their own. Enter Akechi, the overly polite junior detective who takes a keen interest in their case and becomes somewhat awkwardly closer to Joker as the story proceeds. Eventually becoming folded into the group, Crow was playing the long con from the very beginning. It's revealed only following the events of the interrogation scene that Akechi was the Black Mass causing the mental shutdowns, the one who framed your team and the one who betrayed Joker to get him into prison. If not for the creative plans of the rest of the Phantom Thieves to turn his plan around on him, his backstabbing might have won. Sigma, Zero Escape Volume 2 Virtue's Last Reward. In the Zero Escape series, it's hard to know who to trust and who to betray in the high-concept Japanese version of Saw. But the last person that you'd expect to be unable to trust is yourself. Sigma, the player character, is revealed only at the very end of the game to not be the young college student that you and he thought he was, rather having been transformed into an aged man with a look befitting a mad scientist and the true Zero behind the deadly Nonary game. JUNKO ENOSHIMA, Danganronpa Trigger Happy HAVOC. Locked inside of Hope's Peak Academy against their will, 15 students with ultimate skills in their field meet for the first time again in the entryway, greeted with a huge metal door and told by a homicidal Winnie the Pooh to start slaughtering each other. The ultimate fashionista, JUNKO ENOSHIMA, endears herself to the player early, only to meet a tragic death at the hands of Monokuma in order to prove a point. Or does she? The JUNKO the player knew was not someone they really ever knew at all, rather a disguised 16th student, taking the place of the truly psychotic true JUNKO, the mastermind herself behind the killing game in Monokuma, to spread despair across the world. HAYTHAM KENWAY, Assassin's Creed 3. If there was ever a time to pull a Metal Gear Solid 2, Assassin's Creed 3 would have been it. The box and marketing told the player that they would be spending most of their time in the shoes of Connor, who had all of the personality of a cardboard box. But the suave and skilled HAYTHAM KENWAY is who you'd spend the first several hours playing as. Following on from the charming Ezio, players put HAYTHAM into the assassin's box long before the bomb is dropped that HAYTHAM was there for the opposing Templar Order all this time. WHEATLEY, Portal 2. You can't make anything idiot-proof because idiots are so ingenious, said Ron Burns once upon a time. I don't know if he was talking about Wheatley, but the bumbling personality core that was voiced so expertly by Stephen Merchant in Portal 2 is such a perfect fit for the quote. Having taken the body of GLaDOS through sheer dumb luck, power corrupts the AI, who then manages to throw the once clockwork Aperture Labs into chaos. If not for the intervention of Caroline's brain in GLaDOS, Wheatley would have squished Chell at that part where he kills you for sure. LORITHIA, XENOBLADE Chronicles. Loyal head of the HAYTHAM Ministry of Research, LORITHIA is a clever woman who is responsible for much of the advanced technology that the HAYTHAM race enjoys, including weaponry. Though her loyalty to the royal family is true, she resents the half-home's Malia being next in line, and schemes behind the scenes with even greater goals than one throne in mind. Lucy, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. In the early Assassin's Creed adventures, Lucy Stillman was a constant source of reassurance for Desmond Miles, and a source of comfort for the new assassin as his world turned upside down, though she was not all she seemed either. She stole Desmond away from his Templar captors, continued to train him using the Animus. Desmond was forced to stab and kill Lucy because everything she did was not for the assassin cause, but for Abstergo and the Templar. Adachi, Persona 4. Beneath the facade of a friendly, bumbling police detective, Toru Adachi lies a terminally bored psychopath who resents his placement in the middle of nowhere, Inaba. While Adachi will drop the investigation team's sideways hints as to the mysteries of the Midnight Channel under the guise of slips of the tongue, their investigation, the woman he kills through the TV, his manipulation of Namatame, and friendships with the player are all just part of the game to him. Kreia, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Kreia, the mysterious old woman met by the player early in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, is a complicated character, and that's part of what draws her close to players and the hero to begin with. Her tragic backstory sees her serving both the Jedi and the Sith, only to be exiled from both and driven to destroy the Force and use the player to do it. Now a true outsider, her tendency to question the black and white views of the Star Wars universe and drive to force others to see in more shades of gray was a refreshing change for the legendary series that the movies have only recently dared to tackle. Hilda, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Having chased the invading Mad Painter through a crack in the wall, Link finds himself in a mirror image of the kingdom he calls home. She appears before Link, saving him from being crushed by a revived Ganon and sending him out into the world to rescue the sages. Interludes between each dungeon slowly reveal her true nature and plans, to steal away the Triforce of Hyrule for herself to restore glory to her own kingdom. A noble cause, but misguided all the same. Penelope, Sly 4: Thieves in Time. A key figure in the previous game, Penelope had developed a rather close, somewhat romantic connection with Bentley the Turtle, the brains of the team's operation by the end of Sly 3. The mousy mechanical genius would disappear shortly before inciting events of Sly 4, appearing later as the Black Knight during the Middle Ages, selling Bentley's time travel technology to the main antagonist and turning against her love and team due to her perceived drain on his potential that his friends caused Bentley. Arcturus Minx, StarCraft. The Terran Confederacy was hardly a utopian just government in the deep reaches of space, but the acts of the man who replaced it with his own Terran dominion paint a bleak picture indeed. Arcturus Minx appears as a rather intelligent, charming, and capable leader at first, when he recruits key figures such as Jim Raynor and Sarah Kerrigan to his rebel cause. But this charm is also his greatest weapon, allowing him to manipulate connections and keep things on track, and his track only. His true face is one of a cold, disconnected man who would abandon the loyal Sarah Kerrigan to the Zerg and be the man primarily responsible for the creation of the Queen of Blades. Kendra Daniels, Dead Space. Someone highly helpful during the first part of the game, not much came to light about Kendra Daniels' past in Dead Space, and that becomes revealed in the endgame when her purpose as a covert agent meant to take the marker for her employer became apparent when she kills Dr. Terrence KAIN and strands Isaac Clarke. The game foreshadows her knowledge of the effects the marker has on people, and the woman receives her ultimate karma when the hive mind crushes her just seconds away from doing what she came to do. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.